Hello, everyone, and welcome to Secondary Shorts, our weekly check on what we're watching and what's trending in pop culture. It's August 4th, 2020. This is your host, Trevor, and joining me, as usual, is...
Hey, guys, it's Prague.
This is Josh.
Happy birthday to me. It's August 4th, and this is DeLorean Wolfgang.
Happy birthday
Nice.
to
Happy birthday,
you.
Yeah,
I don't
I'm
know if that
definitely
song's
feeling.
perfect.
I'm definitely feeling this old thing for sure.
Welcome to the club.
This is what you go through because, dude, finding gray hairs in my beard, getting gout in my foot, dude. One thing after another starts happening every week. It seems like there's another old person thing that's happening to me.
Every week, then it starts
What will happen to
every
Alex
day.
tomorrow?
Ugh.
Yep.
This is
man.
awful. I hate it.
I hate it.
I want to be young. I was trying to get back into skateboarding and wakeboarding, and it's like, nope.
It's like
Sorry.
your body tells you, not
Yeah,
gonna
We're
do
done.
it.
Oh, hey, it's the weekend. Guess what? You're getting gout, and you're staying on the couch all day for 2 days.
Oh, you thought you were gonna go wakeboarding this weekend? Not too bad.
Too bad. You're going to be crawling to the bathroom now.
Yeah.
Whoa.
Oh.
Whoa.
Well,
That's a lot like
what
college,
happened.
actually. Hold on.
Oh,
So you will feel young again, but you'll also feel old. Funny how that happens as you get older and you start pooping in diapers again. You see how it's going?
Is that what you were doing this week, Prague?
Yeah, this is what I do. I mean, it depends on what I was doing, but
Oh,
Depends.
So,
Nice.
Learn something new about you, Prague.
So what are you guys been up to?
watching?
What's going on? Yeah, seriously, let's change the subject. I don't like.
oh
feeling
well,
old.
I was watching a Murder She Wrote.
Watching CBS. I was watching NCIS.
I'm on my third rewatch of NCIS. Yes.
Law and Order. Shout out to Ryan.
Yes. I think you might know what Josh and I were up to this weekend. If you look behind us. Otherwise, of course, we're in a podcast. You can't see what's behind us. So
Yeah.
People are probably
Elaborate,
listening.
man.
Yeah, go ahead.
So this weekend was the second season of Umbrella Academy, which dropped on Netflix. This is, I don't want to spoil it too much, but I know that we had some issues with the first season. We liked the first season, I think all of us did, right? It was a lot of fun. It was kind of different and zany. I think our complaint was that it kind of copied the X-Men too much, especially the Jean Grey, Dark Phoenix storyline. It was pretty much the same thing. And so at least this season, and I'm only 4 episodes in, so I can't critique the whole series, but I would say that, yeah, so far it is like nothing like the first season. There are aspects of the thing, but really like they have really done something that is different. And I knew kind of that from hearing about the comic books, how like the different books were very different from each other, and they really went on crazy adventures, but I didn't know how crazy they were going to be. So it's definitely pretty crazy. I'm looking forward to the rest of the season. The one thing I will note about this season is that some of the characters that I didn't like the first season, I absolutely love this season. Like they've kind of, I don't know, like I guess the motives changed and how they act has changed because of what has happened in season 1. And not to say that necessarily the characters I don't like from season 1, I don't like now. It's just I think they're being overshadowed a bit by these characters that maybe I wasn't as into the first season. So
Nice. What are your thoughts, Josh?
Same thing around what Prague was saying, though. It's this season, to me, is a lot more entertaining than the first one. And it could be, too, that now we know more about the each character. And to me, it helps me understand at least their powers and what they can do, and their motives for everything. And like just try not to go too deep into what the season is about. It just takes you on a different journey. Maybe one some people expected, some that they didn't expect it at all. And for me, I'm halfway through it. So to me, it's each episode it gets better and better and better. So,
yeah, I think that's the way I've noticed it too.
Yeah. That's great to hear because I actually just started it. I said this story on the live stream, but I put my Oculus headset on. I pretty much was in the Swiss Alps in a beautiful log cabin with a 90-inch TV in front of me, and I put Umbrella Academy on, and I love the idea of where I've only watched one episode, and I'm loving what I'm seeing. It is it's really cool. I really dig it. I wish that I had more of a hot take for you, but I don't. It is really good.
Yeah.
But it's now making me more excited about what's to come for the boys. I mean, if Umbrella Academy was able to step it up a little bit with with their next season, I mean, the boys are going to have to blow this out of the water.
Well, that's the thing. Like, it's a good thing is that they're spread apart, at least when they come out. So it gives you something to look forward to after this. Because to me, I wanted to run through it real quick, binge it all on the weekend.
I
was
did
like,
too, and I stopped myself.
There's nothing really to watch after this, so I'll take my time with it.
Yeah.
I'm definitely taking my time with it. I want to watch it just episode by episode, just kind of space it out a lot more. Because watching it back to back to back to back is, we've discussed this in prior, I like to soak that stuff in. So, and I think that I now have the opportunity to, since there's not a lot of other options to watch.
There was one thing. The one thing I will say, and maybe it's just because I'm old, but I forgot some aspects of last season. So I probably should have done a refresher before I started the season.
Well, the recap,
oh my gosh,
the recap did a good job.
Well, I skipped it because I'm like, I watched it, I'm fine, and I shouldn't have because I'm like, oh crap, I forgot about that character, and oh my god, I forgot that happened. Wait, why are they doing this again? Oh, that's right. So yeah, if you have not watched Umbrella Academy season 1 in a while, it might be worth doing the recap video.
And that's a good.
It helps me.
Recommendation.
Yeah. Sorry. Go ahead, Josh.
No, I said that was a good recommendation on Prague. Rewatch the first season if you can. But if you don't want to wait, then just jump into it.
Okay.
What's interesting is that season 1 isn't that great, and shows usually have a sophomore slump. Almost every show you can think of does. And so if your first season isn't that good, maybe the sophomore slump doesn't happen. Like, I'm kind of worried that you brought up The Boys because season 1 is phenomenal. And so a sophomore slump might hit more than a show that isn't that good. So it has a smaller bar to clear.
Right. Interesting.
Yeah.
Point.
Oh,
that is true. Yeah.
I haven't watched it, so I'm just intrigued by the premise of it because it sounds like they went back to the roots to learn how to make umbrellas, which that was kind of what I missed from the first season.
There you go.
So did you start the second season, Trevor?
He says he hasn't.
No, you haven't. Okay. I didn't know.
I like to be current on stuff. I'm still watching shows from like 5 years ago.
Right.
Yeah. Well, if we're going to talk about other things that we've watched, I don't know why, but me and my wife, we decided to turn on Entourage, and we started Entourage from the very beginning.
Oh my God, that show. Yeah.
So here's the thing. I actually really like the show.
Well, I loved the show when it was on, but that was like, how long ago was that? 10
it's over 10 years old.
Yeah.
Yeah. I think they're talking about like they're in 2009 right now, and I'm on the 5th season. Okay. Season 5, and they're talking about 2009. Yeah, it's pretty old, but they're after watching it with 2020 eyes, you can't do a lot of that stuff that they were doing. I mean, the name calling and this sexual harassment.
Ari Gold as a character would not be able to.
Oh, definitely not.
Today.
Yep.
That's interesting to think about going back to, say, shows from like 10, 20 years ago and watching them. Like shows that you think that were probably like funny, you didn't think much of them. And like, looking back at them. Like,
and shows that are very current. Like, if you're watching Mad Men, it doesn't matter when you watch it. But if you watch a show based on the current time period, it's like, oh.
Yeah, like, oh my gosh. Yeah.
Yeah, it's definitely an eye opener. Like there's they'll say certain things in the show, and I almost kind of cringe. I'm like, oh my God, you can't say that,
right? You could back then.
Doing.
Times have changed, man.
Yeah. Oh, for sure. Yeah, it's definitely it. Like I said, it's still a fun show, but it definitely doesn't hold up to 2020 standards.
I would assume so. Yeah, it's not really a show I ever thought about going back to revisit. So
it's just one of those fun shows.
Yeah, so it was a fun
I don't
show.
know.
I enjoyed it when it was on.
Yeah, it's still fun. And that's the thing is, I wish there was more shows that kind of highlighted Hollywood in that, like, following an actor. Like, for instance, Nashville. Nashville is another one of those shows where you kind of follow a storyline of the behind the scenes of what happens in the music industry or the movie industry with Entourage.
I agree.
I really dig that type of stuff. And the fact that it's it's supposed to be kind of like a story on Mark Wahlberg and how he kind of got his come ups. And so I don't know. It's interesting stuff.
Yeah, that's probably why it did so well.
Yeah, I was watching MindHunter season 2 because Prague told me how amazing it is.
And he hates it. Watch this.
Season 1 is so damn good. Like when I finished season 1, I was like, wow, this is one of the best shows. Season 2 is not season 1, and
I should stop telling you that I like things.
It's mainly
your own opinion.
No, it's mainly because they went away from what made season 1 so good. They went into the personal stories of the characters, but what made season 1 was good was it wasn't about the characters. It wasn't about all of the people interviewing. It was who they were interviewing, and they really went away from the interviews in this season. We're talking about the dude's home life or the chick's whatever, Olivia's weird problems with her relationship with people. It's all like a whole misidentity thing and juxtapositions.
I agree with you. I miss them interviewing some of the other inmates. That is an aspect that I do miss from season 1. But have you finished season 2 yet?
Yes.
You finished the whole thing?
Yeah.
All right. Okay.
Because one of the more annoying things,
I like character studies. I'm into character studies. So that's why I like
the character studies were just juxtapositions, like so heavy-handed juxtapositions. Like we're talking about this guy, and look, my life's going exactly opposite of what I'm saying to this person. It's like that gets tired after a while.
The whole idea, though, of season 2 is all about the psychology and putting the psychology into the FBI, and you're seeing how they're building basically case files and stuff based on their own experiences. They're like, hey, this is profiling.
Then they're saying that the profiles are inherently broken because they're based on the instincts of one person that they can't extrapolate into a manual. Like they're trying to manualize it, and you have other people go who aren't Jonathan Groff, and doesn't work. Very
interesting and exciting. Especially the twist of the main protagonist this season was just fantastic. I mean, it's one of the best seasons of television in the last decade. So if you have,
it's definitely
people are watching.
It's just recommend it.
I mean, once you told me there wasn't a season 3,
Trevor's right. All the critics are wrong.
Once you told me there wasn't a season 3, and they have this whole BTK thing that they don't ever get into it. Why do you leave that hanging fruit there for no reason?
True. That's a bummer.
It's great acting, but it's disappointing storytelling.
Great storytelling, by the way. If you haven't watched it, I just like the hot take. This is fun.
It's just disappointing.
I like 2 different things.
It's perfectly fine, but it's just disappointing.
I put it on because Prague, you did suggest it.
Put on season 2? Okay.
No, I put on season 1.
I don't care about
because I wanted to start it. I wanted to watch it.
You're not gonna like this kind of show. It's like
here's the thing. I'm trying to give it a try, and here's the thing: is like I'm sitting there with my pregnant wife, and within the first 10 minutes of the first episode, I don't want to spoil anything, but we ended up having to turn it off pretty much immediately.
They're talking about Ed Kemper, man.
Yeah, come on.
I don't know what that means.
This is not going to be your kind of show.
Yeah,
I would not recommend the show to you.
If you're a fan of serial killers, it's more interesting when they're talking to the serial killers rather than talking amongst themselves about serial killers.
Okay.
There you go.
Well, my wife loves forensic files and stuff like that, like actually seeing like the detective parts and whatnot, but not seeing the actual violence behind it.
Oh yeah, they show the actual violence.
Yeah, the actual violence and the gun stuff.
David Fincher, what do you expect?
Yeah, they get over that pretty quick though.
They do actually. Yeah, they that's mostly like a shock factor of the first episode, but.
Well, my wife's already got high enough blood pressure. I don't need to make her blood pressure higher by watching that show. So we'll stick to Entourage.
Stick to Entourage. What was the theme song again? Oh, you said that's it.
Yeah.
I always have that stuck in my head when I watch that show.
I skip it every time.
Dumb. Okay.
We should do an episode on shows that have really good and really bad intro songs.
There you go.
That's actually pretty good. Ooh, I kind of dig that. Because in Ninja Turtles, everybody loves that song. Anyways, that's a whole nother discussion.
That is a whole other discussion.
Have you been watching anything else?
Or doing anything else?
I actually started reading. So I know this is silly, but I've bought every comic book from the Back to the Future comics, but I never read any of them.
Okay.
Until I got the one full book of all the comics all in one book. So I started reading the comics through that one book, so I don't have to constantly be taking books out and reading them like that. And actually, the Back to the Future story is fantastic. Like, you learn how Marty and Doc meet, you learn how they become best friends and all kinds of stuff like that. And yeah, it's really cool. It's a nice it keeps the story alive from something that's 35 years old.
Have you ever played the Telltale Back to the Future game?
I did, but it was a little slow paced for me.
I only ever did episode 1, and I was like,
it's just too slow paced. But that's all of you got to be really into Telltale games, because
you got to be into the story. It has to have a good story too.
They're very slow.
Some have better stories than others.
Yeah. How about you, Josh? Anything going on?
I finished that show Ragnarok on Netflix.
Ooh, that's right. Was it worth it?
It was worth it.
Okay.
I'm looking forward to season 2. So it's that's the only thing about a lot of these shows that come out. You have to wait about a year or so, or even longer now.
Really fast, like all right now.
Or you do what I do, and you watch stuff a year later, and then all of a sudden new stuff is out. It's weird.
And the thing is that I went to this show thinking, oh, it's not even in English, I was like, okay, maybe I won't even get into it. But then as I kept watching each episode, they did a good job on it. And, to me, like I said, it kind of follows that whole Thor-like thing. So
that's cool.
I liked it. And like I said, I was talking to somebody at work that was watching it too. And they're like, I'm so confused why it ended that way. I said, well, because they want you to get ready for season 2. It's like, it's
good. Heck yeah.
Always.
Yeah.
Because once you start something in Hollywood, nothing ever ends. It has to have a sequel.
Unless you're Dark. Dark actually wraps stuff up in the final season. So
the final season, which was season 3.
Right, it's perfect.
Yeah.
Perfect.
Rather than having one season.
More to the point of Watchmen being done and getting the most Emmy nominations like ever.
Right?
And I think that's going to be my next one, Watchmen. I haven't got to watch it.
Or you can stick to subtitles and go with Dark. Either way, either one's fine. Either place is good.
Cool.
Fine.
Well, cool. At this point, I'm going to do a spotlight on a podcast.
I have one more thing I want to say.
Oh, you do?
Yeah,
I am so
Yes.
sorry. Please go ahead.
So I did want to just mention I continue watching movies and Disney animated movies from the past. I'm up to 1951's Peter Pan. And Peter Pan is terrible. It is a bad movie. Like Snow White. Yeah, Snow White and Cinderella, they stand up, but Peter Pan is so bad because they try to copy Looney Tunes slapstick over the top animation style that Disney, but I guess it was popular at the time, and Disney's not known for that, and it falls so flat. It's just, it's hard to get through.
I think the songs in that is what I really like. The "You Can Fly" song. I love the "You Can Fly" song.
The songs are not the slapstick humor, or the
right, but you take the
Disney
slapstick.
always have animated songs. That's what they do.
Right, but I mean, I'm not going to say that everything about it was bad. When
I didn't. I just said it's a bad movie.
Yeah,
it still has its parts, but then again, a lot of bad movies has its parts.
Yeah.
But I also like everything, so.
I just want to keep watching one a week. I'll make it to present day by like
so what's the next
2022 or something.
Yeah, what's next on the list?
Oh god, that's a good question because I actually watched 2, but I'll save the other one for another episode.
But
I think Sleeping Beauty's up next.
Now you did say that the point of you watching all of these Disney movies was trying to find a connection between them all. Have you started seeing connections?
Yes.
Thank you for the one-word answer. I love having a podcast.
Well, no, because it's intrigue for later.
Yeah, he doesn't want
if I just told you what the connection was, then there's no reason.
You have to wait 2 years.
Think of all these secondary shorts where I can tell you how terrible all these animated movies are.
Oh, I can't wait.
Right, but you can give us little sneak
as long as you're ruining other stuff that I don't like or care about, I'm happy with it.
Well,
so I enjoy that.
Podcast spotlight.
Okay, podcast spotlight this week. I'm spotlighting. Actually, this was the second podcast I ever listened to. This is the 8-Bit Geek. We actually did an episode with the 8-Bit Geek called or it was during their 8-Bit Horror Fest where we did a movie review of Poltergeist. And 8-Bit Geek, they're solid podcasts. They do a lot of funny stuff. They actually also have a whole network where they do a D&D campaign that's all Star Wars based, which is really cool. It's called the 8-Bit Saga. But I love the 8-Bit Geek guys. I love listening to their show weekly. They also do it live on Twitch as well. But yeah, 8-Bit Geek, give them a try. Check them out.
There you go.
Awesome.
There you go.
And be sure to check out the whole Nerds Unite network of Geek Together, Four Dorksmen, Nerdy Curious, STS Guys, The Average Nerd Podcast, Nerd Portraits, Talkin' Pops. There's all kinds of podcast content out there. And there's a bunch that are on Twitch now, so you can watch them live.
Exactly. Yeah. Man, I'm having a hard time catching up with every episode because I listen to all these shows. And it's tough for me to keep up with them all. But I love it. I love it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So that's Secondary Shorts. We'll talk to you next time.
Peace.
See you.
DeLorean Wolfgang, roll out.